Amy thought she'd finally found peace. But this new episode flips her world upside down again. Because when secrets from the past start surfacing, even love starts feeling dangerous. Heartland Season 19 episode 4 came in with the kind of energy that instantly told us, nothing's gonna be the same after this. The episode picks up right after that plane incident with Caleb and Nathan, and trust me, the tension between those two hasn't cooled off one bit. They're stuck miles away from everyone, surrounded by silence. And the only thing louder than the wind is their resentment. You can feel it in every word they throw at each other. Nathan's still trying to stay calm, trying to be that decent guy Amy fell for. But Caleb's got too much bottled up, old jealousy, guilt, maybe even regret. Every time Nathan talks about Amy, Caleb's eyes darken. Like he's still carrying the ghost of the past he can't let go of. But here's the twist, being stranded forces them to depend on each other. What starts as a heated blame game turns into something else entirely when the storm gets worse. And they realize survival means teamwork, not war. And that's where things get complicated. Back at Heartland, Amy's losing it. The moment she finds out Caleb and Nathan never made it back, that calm, collected version of her disappears. You can see that guilt creeping in, the what-ifs, the regrets, the things left unsaid. It's like she's reliving all those moments she spent with Ty, only this time. Nathan's face keeps replacing his. She tries to stay strong, to tell herself Nathan's okay, but deep down, she knows it's different this time. Nathan isn't Ty, he's human, he's flawed, and he might not make it back. That fear alone breaks her down in a way we haven't seen in years. She turns to Jack for comfort, but even Jack's having a hard time keeping her grounded. You can tell he's worried too, not just about Nathan, but about Amy losing herself all over again. The ranch feels cold, heavy, quiet. Even the horses sense something's wrong. Meanwhile, Lou's trying to hold everything together, calling in search teams, keeping everyone busy. But she can't shake that feeling that the family's about to face something big. And then comes Lisa, quietly watching Amy from afar, reminding her that love doesn't disappear just because the person does. That line hits hard. It's something Amy doesn't want to admit. She's still chasing the shadow of Ty while trying to build something real with Nathan. But how do you move on when every piece of your heart is still tied to someone who's gone? Out in the woods, things get darker. The storm's worse, visibility's gone, and Caleb's starting to break. His guilt's eating him alive, first Ty, now maybe Nathan. He starts confessing things Nathan didn't even ask to hear. Talking about how he never stopped wondering what life would have been like if Amy had chosen him. It's raw, ugly, real. Nathan listens, but when Caleb says Ty was the only man Amy ever truly loved, you can see it hit him like a punch to the chest. Still, Nathan doesn't lash out, not this time. He just says, then maybe I'm not here to replace him. Maybe I'm just here to love her differently, and that silence afterward? That's when you realize Nathan's not trying to compete anymore. He's just trying to survive, not just the storm, but the weight of Amy's past. As the night drags on, their situation gets worse. Food's gone, radio's dead, and temperatures are dropping fast. Caleb's shaking, trying to act tough, but you can see the fear all over him. Nathan takes charge, finding shelter, keeping the fire alive, doing what he can to keep them both breathing. For the first time, Caleb actually looks at him without hate, maybe even with a little respect. It's like he finally sees what Amy saw all along. That quiet strength, that steady heart, the kind of love that doesn't try to replace, just to heal. But right when it feels like the two might finally find some peace, something moves in the distance. At first, they think it's the rescue team. But the look on Nathan's face says otherwise. He steps forward, squinting through the snow. And that's where the episode hits us with its final blow, a shadow, a shape. Someone walking toward them. And then, cut to black. No sound, no answer, just that sharp silence that leaves you frozen. And now, we're all stuck wondering who or what did they just see? This episode didn't just move the story, it tore it open. Every emotion, every old wound, every piece of Heartland history got dragged back into the light. And if this is how the season's heating up, then whatever comes next isn't just going to change Amy and Nathan. It's going to change Heartland forever. The morning after the storm hits different. Calm on the outside, chaos underneath. The sun barely cuts through the clouds. And that's when the weight of what happened starts to sink in. Amy's been up all night, pacing, replaying every word she last said to Nathan. The guilt is eating her alive. She's trying to convince herself he's okay, but that feeling in her gut keeps saying otherwise. Jack tells her to rest, but Amy can't. Not when she knows the man she just started opening her heart to might be lost out there. And the craziest part? Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Ty not like a memory, like he's right there, watching her, pushing her to fight for Nathan the same way she once fought for him. It's haunting, but also comforting. Like Ty's presence is guiding her again through the pain she thought she'd buried for good. At the same time, Lou's in full damage control mode. She's got everyone moving, calling rescue units, checking maps, trying to track the flight path. But nothing's coming through. No signals, no coordinates, nothing. You can tell it's killing her too. Not just as Amy's sister, but as someone who's seen the family break before and knows what another loss could do. Then Peter shows up out of nowhere, saying he got word about the weather clearing. That small spark of hope hits, and suddenly, everyone's moving faster, more desperate. Even Tim, who's usually all talk and temper, steps up this time. He's quieter, focused, driving out himself to search, refusing to let history repeat itself. Meanwhile, out in the wilderness, Nathan wakes up first. The fire's burned out, the cold's biting harder, and Caleb's not moving much. For a second, Nathan thinks the worst. But then Caleb stirs, groaning, joking about how he's not dying in the woods with him of all people. That bitter humor breaks the tension for a second, but it's short-lived. Nathan's hands are shaking as he tries to fix the radio again, his breath fogging in the air. You can tell he's running on nothing but adrenaline and hope. That's when Caleb finally drops the pride and says what we've all been waiting for. That Amy deserves to be happy. And maybe Nathan really is that person who can give her peace again. For Caleb, that's huge. For Nathan, it's everything. Because for the first time, he doesn't feel like the outsider fighting a ghost. But just when things start to feel hopeful, a crack echoes through the trees. It's not thunder. It's sharper. Nathan freezes, his eyes darting toward the sound. He steps out, cautiously, and sees movement again, not the shadow from before, but something closer. Maybe a person. Maybe something else. He calls out, no response. Caleb tells him to leave it, but Nathan can't. He starts walking toward it. Snow crunching beneath his boots, every step heavier than the last. And then, a flare lights up the sky, red, distant, but clear. A sign of life. Relief floods his face for a split second before the reality hits. It came from the opposite direction of where they crashed. Someone else is out there. Back at Heartland, Amy sees the same flare on a rescue monitor. Lisa spots it first, points it out, and for the first time all day, Amy's eyes light up. She doesn't even think. She grabs her coat and says she's going with the search team. Jack tries to stop her, but she won't hear it. She's made up her mind. This isn't about running from the past anymore. It's about saving her future. When she heads out, the wind picks up again, almost like the land itself is testing her. But Amy doesn't stop. Every mile she drives feels like a fight against fate then. The scene shifts back to Nathan and Caleb trudging toward that flare. The snow's deeper now, visibility dropping, but they keep going. Nathan keeps glancing over his shoulder, that shadow from before still haunting him. Caleb asks if he saw something earlier, and Nathan just says, it doesn't matter. Whatever it was, it's gone, but the look on his face says otherwise. It wasn't just his imagination. And deep down, we know, Heartland doesn't throw in a mystery like that for nothing. There's something or someone out there that neither of them's ready for. By the time night starts to fall again, Amy's almost there. Her headlights cut through the fog, and the tension builds with every passing second. The radio starts to crackle, faint voices, coordinates, static, and then she hears it. Nathan's voice. Weak, breaking up, but it's him. She slams on the brakes, tears in her eyes, whispering his name like saying it might bring him back faster. And that's when you realize this isn't just about romance anymore. It's about survival, second chances, and a woman who's finally ready to fight for love again. No matter how much it hurts, but the real question is, will she find him in time? Or will that shadow from the woods get to him first? Because in Heartland, peace never lasts long. And every bit of calm always comes before the next storm. The next part of the episode doesn't waste a second, it dives straight into that tension that's been boiling since the crash. Amy's truck is tearing down those muddy roads like the world's ending. The snow slapping against her windshield, her hands gripping the wheel tighter every mile. Her heart's racing not just from fear but from something deeper. This feeling that if she loses Nathan now, she'll never forgive herself. Every flash of light on the road feels like a sign. Every noise in the distance makes her flinch. You can almost feel that mix of desperation and determination pulsing through her. This isn't the same Amy who used to doubt herself, who always let her pain hold her back. This time, she's fighting like hell. Meanwhile, back in the woods, Nathan and Caleb finally reach where the flare came from. It's an open clearing, half frozen, quiet enough to make your skin crawl. They look around, no footprints, no smoke, no people. Just the sound of the wind cutting through the trees. Caleb mutters something about it being a trap, but Nathan ignores him. Kneeling down to check the snow. There's something strange about the ground, it's disturbed. Like someone was there not too long ago. He finds a piece of fabric, torn, half buried under the snow. And that's when he realizes the color. It's red, just like the flare. Caleb takes it from him, flips it over, and they both exchange that look. the one that says they've just stumbled into something way bigger than a crash. Back at Heartland, Jack's losing patience. The rescue team's delayed again, the storm's back, and he's watching Amy's location on his phone barely moving. Lisa tells him she'll be fine, but you can tell he doesn't believe that for a second. Jack's been through this too many times. Watching people he loves walk straight into danger thinking they're strong enough to handle it. He even says it out loud, this family's cursed when it comes to chasing ghosts. That line hits hard because deep down, everyone knows it's true. Every time Amy's tried to move on, something from the past finds its way back, dragging her right into the pain she's trying to escape. The scene cuts back to Amy finally spotting smoke in the distance. It's faint, but it's enough. She parks, jumps out, calls out Nathan's name, her voice echoing through the trees. For a second, nothing. Then, out of nowhere, a figure appears through the fog, but it's not Nathan. It's Caleb, limping, covered in snow and blood, barely holding himself up. Amy rushes to him, asking where Nathan is, but Caleb just shakes his head. He can't speak properly. All he manages to say is, he went after it. That line changes everything. Amy grabs him, shouting, after what? But Caleb just looks at her with this broken, haunted expression like he saw something that didn't make sense. Something he couldn't explain. We then cut to Nathan, alone now, following a trail deeper into the woods. The air's thick, the snow heavier. He's hearing things, whispers, footsteps, maybe even his name. It's that kind of eerie silence that feels alive. The kind that makes you start questioning what's real. His flashlight flickers, and just when it steadies again, he stops. In front of him, a figure stands, far enough that he can't see the face, close enough to feel its presence. Nathan calls out, hello? But there's no answer. The figure tilts its head slightly like it recognizes him. And for a split second, Nathan freezes because something about the posture, the stance, the energy, it feels familiar. Too familiar. He blinks and it's gone. Just like that. Amy and Caleb finally reach that area, guided by the weak radio signal Nathan left behind. Caleb keeps warning her to stay close, but Amy's not listening. She's calling Nathan's name over and over, her voice cracking. And then, right when she's about to give up, she hears it, faintly, in the distance. Nathan's voice. She runs toward it, slipping on the ice, barely catching herself, but she doesn't stop. The music slows, that slow heartbeat rhythm playing in the background. And she finally finds him, lying near the edge of a frozen creek. Half conscious, his hand clutching the same red fabric he found earlier. Amy falls beside him, shaking him, begging him to wake up. He opens his eyes slowly, manages to whisper her name, and for a brief second, everything stops. But this is Heartland, peace never stays. Because as Amy looks around, she sees something across the creek. The same shadow Nathan saw before. She freezes, holding Nathan closer, whispering, we're not alone. The camera pans slowly across the trees, the faint outline of someone watching, then disappears again. Whether it's real or not, nobody knows. But one thing's clear, something followed them out of that storm. Something that's not done yet. By the time Jack and the rescue team finally find them, it's already too late for answers. Nathan's alive, Caleb's safe, and Amy's holding on to Nathan like she's never letting go again. But there's this eerie silence in the air, this heaviness that tells you the story's far from over. The look in Amy's eyes says it all. She's grateful, she's relieved, but she's also scared. Because whatever they saw out there, it changed something. And Heartland has never felt this uneasy before. When the sun finally rises over Heartland, everything looks calm again, but it's that kind of calm that hides chaos underneath. The search is over, the storm's gone, and the family's together. Yet there's something off in the air. You can see it in the way Amy stares out the window that morning, lost in thought. She hasn't said much since they got back, and even though Nathan's recovering, there's a quiet distance between them. She's not just shaken, she's haunted. Every time she closes her eyes, she keeps seeing that shadow from the woods. It's not just fear anymore. It's curiosity mixed with guilt, like her heart still trapped somewhere out there in the cold. Jack notices, of course. He's seen that look before, the same look she had after Dee's accident. And deep down, he knows she's about to start chasing something again, even if it breaks her. Nathan, on the other hand, is trying to put the pieces together in his head. He remembers flashes, the flare, the sound of footsteps, the cold, and that strange figure that disappeared into the trees. He doesn't bring it up right away because part of him doesn't trust what he saw. Trauma can make the mind play tricks, and he knows how fragile Amy already is. But when Amy finally asks him if he saw anything, really saw something, he doesn't lie. He just nods once, quietly, and says, yeah, but I don't think it wanted to hurt us. That line leaves her speechless. Because how can something that doesn't exist want or not want anything? You can tell her brain's spinning, trying to make sense of something that refuses to be explained. Later, Caleb shows up at the ranch, limping but still trying to act like everything's fine. He brings a bottle of whiskey and that classic grin, but it doesn't last long. You can tell he's carrying something heavy. He starts talking to Jack in private, away from everyone else. That's when we find out what really messed with him out there. He says he heard someone calling his name in the woods, not Nathan, not Amy. A voice he recognized but couldn't believe. It was Dee's. Jack freezes. Caleb swears he's not making it up, that it was faint but real. He even describes the same feeling Nathan mentioned, that presence, that familiarity. Jack doesn't say a word at first, but his eyes tell the story. He believes him. Maybe not in the literal sense, but he knows something about that land, that energy. That always finds a way to bring the past back. Meanwhile, Amy and Nathan share their first quiet moment since coming home. He's sitting on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, watching the horses graze like nothing ever happened. Amy joins him, holding 2 cups of coffee. For a moment, it feels normal again, the ranch, the silence, the view. But when Nathan turns to her and says, "You came for me," that's when the wall finally breaks. She doesn't speak, she just nods, her eyes filling up. Because that's what love is now for Amy, messy, painful, uncertain, but real. Nathan tells her that when he was lying there in the snow, the only thing that kept him alive was knowing she'd come. And even though Amy tries to smile, you can tell she's still fighting the ghost of Ty inside her. The way she looks at Nathan isn't just love, it's gratitude, guilt, and confusion all mixed into one. Then, Lou interrupts, walking up with that serious look she gets when something's not right. She tells them the rescue team found something strange near the crash site. The wreckage had shifted, like it had been moved. Not by wind, not by animals, but by someone. Amy's face goes pale instantly. She remembers that shadow again, the one that didn't move like a wild animal. Nathan says nothing, just stares straight ahead. That's when Lou drops another bomb. One of the rangers said he found fresh boot prints near where Nathan was lying. Not theirs. Someone else's. The footprints stopped right before the creek, like whoever it was vanished. Later that night, Amy can't sleep. She keeps hearing the wind outside, the faint creak of the barn doors, and that sound of hooves shuffling in the dark. She grabs her coat and goes outside, just to clear her head. The ranch looks different under the moonlight, quiet, almost sacred. The horses are calm, but one of them keeps staring at the far end of the fence, ears twitching. Amy follows its gaze, and that's when she sees it again. A faint silhouette standing by the old oak tree. For a moment, she can't breathe. Her heart's pounding so hard it hurts. She whispers, "Nathan?" But there's no answer. The figure doesn't move, doesn't react, it just stands there like it's waiting. Then, just like before, it fades into the dark. The next morning, Amy's quiet again. She doesn't tell anyone what she saw, not even Nathan. She just keeps it inside, wearing that same expression Ty once had when he was holding on to something he couldn't explain. You can feel that shift. Heartland's peace is starting to crack, piece by piece. Whatever came out of that storm didn't stay in the woods. It followed them home. And if the look in Amy's eyes says anything, it's that she's not going to rest until she finds out what it is. Because maybe, just maybe, this isn't just about the past haunting her. Maybe it's about something trying to send her a message she's finally ready to hear. By the time the next evening rolls around, there's a different kind of energy at Heartland, heavier, quieter, almost like the land itself knows something's shifting. The sun dips behind the hills, painting the sky in that soft orange glow that usually brings peace. But tonight it just feels uneasy. Amy's been off all day, distracted, barely eating, lost in thought. She keeps replaying that moment from last night, the shadow, the silence. The feeling that someone was right there watching her. It wasn't fear she felt. It was recognition. Something deep in her gut told her it wasn't danger she saw, it was connection. Maybe Dee's memory, maybe something else entirely, but whatever it was, it's not done with her yet. Nathan notices, of course. He's been trying to act normal, helping Jack with the horses, fixing the fences, pretending life's back to how it was. But he can feel Amy pulling away, slipping back into that quiet place where she hides when she's scared. So he finally confronts her, not with anger, but with honesty. "You've been somewhere else since we came back," he says, looking right at her. "If there's something you're not telling me, I'd rather hear it from you." And that's when Amy breaks. She tells him everything about the figure she saw near the barn, about the voice Caleb heard, about the boot prints. Nathan just listens, never interrupting, never doubting her. When she finishes, expecting him to call her crazy, he doesn't. Instead, he says, "Maybe some people don't really leave us, Amy, maybe they stay around till we're ready to move on." That one line changes the air between them. It's not spooky anymore, it's sad, peaceful, almost healing. Later, Amy walks out to the old barn alone. The wind's calm, the moonlight spilling across the fields. She runs her hand along the stable doors, whispering T's name, almost like she's saying goodbye. You can tell this is the closure she's been avoiding for years. Every heartbreak, every flashback, every sleepless night, it all leads to this quiet moment. She tells him she's sorry for trying to replace him, sorry for forgetting what he taught her, and finally admits she's scared to love again. There's no reply, no ghostly sign, just that still air that somehow feels lighter after she speaks. When she steps back, she sees something that makes her stop, T's old saddle hanging in the corner. Freshly polished, the nameplate shining. She didn't clean it. No one did. She smiles softly because that's all the answer she needed back at the house. Caleb's sitting with Jack, both of them staring into the fire. Caleb's been quiet since coming back to quiet. He finally opens up, telling Jack that when he heard T's voice, it wasn't calling for help. It said, "Take care of her." Jack looks down, his hands gripping his coffee mug tighter. That's all he says, he already is, and that's when you realize what this episode's really about. It's not ghosts, it's not just survival, it's about legacy. The people who shaped Heartland never really left it. They're in the land, the wind, the barns, the fields. They live on through every love story, every heartbreak, every second chance. Meanwhile, Amy walks back into the house, eyes still glistening. Nathan's there waiting. No words, no grand gestures, just a quiet understanding between them. She sits beside him, leans her head on his shoulder, and for the first time in years, she looks like she's at peace. Not because she's forgotten Ty, but because she's finally learned how to carry him without losing herself. Nathan kisses her forehead and whispers, "You don't have to let go to move forward." And right there, you can feel that turning point. Amy's finally stepping out of the shadow of her past. The final few minutes are all about that balance between what was and what's becoming. Lou's on the phone talking about a new partnership for the ranch. Lisa's checking the horses. Jack's smiling at Amy from the porch. Everything feels grounded again, like life's ready to move on. But just before the episode fades out, the camera pans back toward the old oak tree. The wind picks up, the leaves rustle, and for half a second, you can see it, that same silhouette from before. Still silent, watching. Then it fades again, leaving only the sound of the wind and the flicker of light from the house in the distance. That's how Heartland's Season 19 episode 4 leaves us, full of warmth, mystery, and that bittersweet reminder that love doesn't really die. It just changes form. It's not about ghosts or hauntings, it's about connection, healing, and the invisible thread that keeps everyone at Heartland tied together, even when life keeps trying to pull them apart. This episode wasn't just emotional, it was symbolic, a bridge between the past and the present, between what's lost and what's still waiting to be found. And if this is where Heartland's heading next, then we're in for one of the most soulful, unpredictable rides the show's ever given us.